I'm not a football player. I just happen to be blessed with the kind of talent to play football. I never wanted to be seen when people come up. Aren't you a football player? No, I'm a person that happens to play professional football. That's all.
I made it through the rough time, rough time. I made it through the tough time, tough time. I made it through the bad time, bad time. So now I gotta get mine, get mine. Gotta weather the storm, gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm, I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Okay. One day we gon' get on. Talk to 'em. You ain't got a choice.
Welcome to Bailey and Buck Unplugged, where we talk about sports, entertainment, and mental health in support of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. If you're struggling with mental health, we encourage you to speak up and get help. A great place to start is 988. That's the free crisis prevention lifeline. Or you can check out the resources tab at kennedykids.org. If you are in an absolute emergency, please dial 911. Either way, we want you to know that you are not alone and that you don't have to struggle, and speak up, get help. There are resources available to you, and we are here to support you. If you're new around here, I want to introduce you to our host. I am Misty Buck. I am an author and a mental health and performance coach. And my co-hosts are Robert Bailey. He is the president of Rosenhaus Sports, the president of Kennedy Kids Foundation. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time college national champion. He's an NFL record holder, and he's an ESPY winner. And we are also joined by Bailey Brooks Mashburn. She is a celebrity wedding and event planner, a former NFL cheerleader, and the executive director of the Kennedy Kids Foundation.
All right. Welcome back to Kennedy Kids Bailey and Buck Unplugged podcast, where we have real conversations about mental health, purpose, and resilience. Today, we're incredibly honored to be joined by a true Miami legend, former Miami Dolphins standout, and University of Florida Hall of Famer, Louis Oliver. Beyond his hard-hitting presence on the field, Louis is a powerful story off the field, one of strength, perspective, and commitment to community. We're diving into his journey throughout football, life after the game, and his thoughts on mental health in sports and beyond. He is also one of the first people I met back in 2001 when I first moved to the USA. He orchestrated all my South Beach nightlife shenanigans since then, so I also consider him a friend. Louis, thank you for being here and sharing your voice with the Kennedy Kids community. Welcome to the show, friend.
Thank you guys for having me. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. One of the first questions we like to ask all of our guests is to share a personal mental health struggle that you may or may not have had during your football career or life. But when did you feel like was your most challenging time dealing with an incident or on or off the field?
I don't think I've. I mean, you asking me though. I don't. Me personally, I don't think I've had any, any type of struggles. I mean, since retiring from the game, even while being in the game, maybe these reactions are delayed. I don't know. I pray that they're not. I pray that I'm of sound mind, body, and spirit. But I feel good. I mean, family's good. I feel good. I feel healthy. According to my latest physical examinations, Louis is okay. So. Right now, I'm in a really good space, mentally, physically, emotionally. So, and I just pray to God that I can stay that way.
Well, what are some of the things that you do to stay in that space, to put yourself in that position so that you don't have the mental health struggles? That's a whole.
Lou, at some point, you went through a time where the NFL thought your time was up. Maybe you didn't think your time was up. Maybe there was a time that you played football where they benched you and they didn't start you. You thought you should have started. There's been some sort. Everyone has had a mental struggle at some point. You just got to think back, long enough to find it.
No, I mean, like one of the things that you just mentioned, retiring at the age of 30. I still thought I had 3-4 years of top-notch football left.
Right, and the NFL caused you to retire because you thought you could have kept playing, but they didn't want you to play.
Yeah, So that being
said, how
did
you handle that?
You know what? Rob, I just came to the realization and the conclusion. I say, look, my time is up. I'm not going to be one of those ones who, I want to try out 3, 4, 5 years after, I'm supposedly retired. Um, I looked at it like I felt as though I had a great career. I was happy with what I've done on the field. I felt like I could have done a little more, but when they told me, hey, none of the teams, especially after the '96 season was my last season. I tried out with the Raiders, and then I had a workout with the Browns. And after that, I was like, okay, God is just letting me know that, hey, this is your time is up. So before you have some career-ending injury, so I was just happy to get out of the game unscathed, of sound mind, body, and soul. I just said, hey, I'm not a football player. I just happen to be blessed with the kind of talent to play football. I never wanted to be seen when people come up, aren't you a football player? No, I'm a person that happens to play professional football. That's all.
What did you do? What did you do to stay sane? What did you do to stay level-headed while you wanted to continue to play, but they were telling you they weren't interested in signing you at the time? Because you go through that period where, a lot of players keep training for years and years. They keep training. They're talking to their agent. What's going on? You should be able to get me in the mini camp. So what did you do personally within yourself? What tools did you use to keep things at a level that you were able to be happy?
Well, working out, you and I still do that to
Yeah.
this day. I'm
Yeah.
up. I just finished a 2.5 hour workout this morning, in the weight room doing weights and cardio and all of that type of stuff. But, when that situation, I felt as though um, at that time, there were plenty of safeties in the league that I knew I could outplay. And I just rationalized, hey, your time is up. I just didn't want to keep trying and keep trying and keep getting turned down because of the way the league was at that time, and it's still that way. Once you get a certain age and a certain position, they put the limits on you as opposed to you putting the limits on yourself. So for me, just dealing with that, I just said, hey man, time is up. This is God saying to me, hey Lewis, before you have a real serious catastrophic injury, this is it. Being kind of smart and intelligent, like I said, I went to school on an academic scholarship at the University of Florida, so I knew there was things I could do. So, football was just talent I was blessed with to play at a high level, and I just try to keep everything in perspective, life in perspective, family in perspective, and it's like, hey, my time here is up. Okay, get on to the rest of your life and enjoy that. And I try to do that each and every day. I try to eat right. I try to exercise. I try to stay around positive people and not be around negative people and pessimistic people. So, I got a good group of friends. Robert, you're definitely one. So I'm watching what you do, and I'm hoping everybody that I come in contact with is blessed. So I just want blessings for people. I want blessings for myself and my family, and that's just my outlook. I mean, I'm a positive person. I'm a very optimistic person. I feel like I can make it pretty much do anything, and I'm just keep relying on God to just take care of me and keep moving through life.
Lou, you've been very active in the community for many years. Ever since I've known you, ever since me and you played together at the Dolphins. You said it yourself. You're a very smart guy, and you've been active in the community. You're active with the NFL chapter here in South Florida. You're a football guy. You do media with podcasts. You're in the community. You're in the nightlife here. What do I want to get your take on your thoughts on why NFL players, athletes in general, but a lot of NFL players, why are so many, um, committing suicide, attempting suicide, and are so depressed? What's the difference between now, in your mind, now this generation of players compared to the past?
Ooh, Rob, that I wouldn't really have an a true.
Your personal thought. Your personal thought.
First and foremost, the game of football itself, as you know, you cannot make that game safe. I
Right.
mean, I don't care what kind of materials they make the helmets and the pads out of. When you got guys that are 250, 300 pounds running 20, 22, 23 miles an hour, smashing bodies against other bodies moving at the same speed and with power, there's no way to you there's no way, shape, form, or fashion that you can make a game like football safe.
Right.
Um,
The brain, you're saying basically the brain damage is gonna come no
oh,
matter
it's
what.
coming. Oh, I mean, to what degree? I mean, no one knows, but you're not gonna make it out of this game with some type of mental deficiencies as you get older. For me, I chose the position to play defensive back because when I was in high school, I was a starting quarterback in 11th grade for one day. I started defensive tackle, beat the center, body slammed me. I instantly, after that play, I went right over and became a defensive back because as a defensive back, I know where I want to hit you. I know how I'm going to hit you. I know to what degree, how hard I'm going to hit you. So
Right.
I can control parts of my body, most parts of my body, especially my face and my head. As an offensive player, a running back specifically, receiver, tight end, you don't know where a defensive player is going to hit you. You don't know how many is going to hit you. You don't know to what degree they're going to hit you. So for me, I just wanted to play a position where I can inflict punishment and not be punished. But the
Right.
game itself, the game itself, when we played, it was a lot more violent. Now it's I see the football as being more entertainment. They backing off all the real violent tackles and all of that type of stuff. But at the same time, these guys are still having mental issues. A lot of these young guys, the guy from Dallas a couple of weeks ago after their Monday
Yeah.
night game, he had a great game. And this was Monday, and then on Wednesday or Thursday, this guy offs himself. Why? I don't know. We don't know. I don't know what symptoms he was giving off, who was picking up on him, who was missing him. But as we see today, there's a lot of that, even with the younger guys. So um older guys, I see guys that I play. I look at you, Robert. Man, you look at you. You're in fantastic shape, physically, mentally. All your faculties are there. Um, but there are guys that I know that are losing it, and it's sad to say, but this game of football, you can't make it safe. You're gonna have guys with mental issues, with physical issues. It's just a part of the game. You can't make it safe, Rob. So I don't know what the remedies are for the game of professional football. I just love it. I just
Yeah.
wish a lot of the players and a lot of our brothers didn't have to deal with the bad situations and outcomes that come from this game of football. But this is the profession that we chose, and we probably all do it all over again if we had a chance.
Yeah. I think the NFL should be more proactive, with the guys with the tools that they can use, like therapy sessions. They should force guys to take therapy sessions. It should be in our medical, the medical packages that we get when we retire.
Exactly.
They should make you for next 5 years, decade, assign a therapist to you, because like you say, there's no way to get around it,
No.
and it is there, and to provide that, a lot of guys just don't even know what's provided. You know what I'm saying? There's some.
And I think a lot of times, this thing. I think a lot of guys don't want to reach out for help, or they're afraid to reach out for help.
Right.
Um, just to sit down with a group of guys, you and a couple more guys, just a small conversation, 20, 30 minutes of just being around like guys who we used to fraternize with. That'll do so many guys so much good because when you get out of the game, you don't have that closeness with the guys. You don't have that team. You don't have that team bonding. And a lot of guys get lost. A lot of guys that play the game, they look forward to going to practice.
Right.
They look forward to working out. It's, the problems come when they get out of the facility. They go home. A lot of them are alone, especially these younger guys. They don't know who to trust or who can they trust, and it's like they're so isolated and lonely. If you just pick up the phone like now, especially being a part of NFLPA, going to these meetings, not just guys that I don't know. I ask them for their number just so I can call them. Hey man, I'm just checking on you, hoping
Right.
everything is going well. Just those few words, I'm just checking on you, means a lot. If you call me and say, hey man, I'm just checking on you to see how you doing, man, that makes my whole day. It
Right.
makes my whole day. And I wish we do that a lot more. I wish the league would just get some just implement some type of gathering spots for guys on a weekly basis can go and just fraternize with other NFL players and have a drink and have a conversation and just come down off of whatever it is that they're on negatively so we can be better people.
Right. Man, that's
It's a
interesting. I
it's
never
a
thought
lot of
about.
help. It's a lot of help. It's a lot of people need help out there, Rob. Like I said, being a football guy, you're told to be strong, be tough, don't be a wimp, don't whine. So these guys go through these mental struggles all by themselves, all because of the genetic makeup of the athlete that's inside of them.
Right. And it's funny. It's you would hope that more wives and girlfriends. I think they should get more active in their spouses' football careers from a mental standpoint. Bailey, you may have something to add to this. Being married to a former NBA player, but I just think even in all sports, I just think they should be more active in the relationship between the team and the player, especially when it comes to their mental health.
I don't disagree. I think it's the relationship. I really don't think that the men have always been, from my perspective, that open about including their partner in that
A
portion.
hundred percent,
And,
100%.
and it's not
Exactly.
until the guy is mature enough to then open up and welcome the input from their partner, that's gonna happen. Like I can strong arm you all I want in our relationship. I can strong arm Jamal now because of where he's at in his own mental health journey and his personal journey. But like at 20, I don't think he would have been like as receptive to the information I'm
No,
giving him. He'd have been a knucklehead. He's trying to hang out. He's trying to do all the things that you
Right.
guys do when you first get your contract, So I mean, it's a good point. And to what you and Lewis were talking about earlier with regards to like it not being able to be upgraded into something that's safer. Like, do you guys look at it like from a parent perspective, from a father perspective? Would you let your own sons play football at knowing that?
yeah, I mean, my son played football. He was starting on the varsity team since he was an eighth grader, and then when he gets all the way up into his junior year, and then he just says, "I don't want to play no more," and I'm like, "Okay, it was always your choice," um, but um, I just told him, "Hey, man, just understand that this is a very rugged, rigid sport. Softness is not tolerated in no way, shape, form, or fashion."
Right.
Um, and he played, but now he's not playing anymore. And to what you mentioned earlier, Bailey,
Yeah, I know.
well, I call both of you guys Bailey. Bailey is your first name. Robert, you got Bailey as your second name, and I call your first name your last name your first
Right.
name all the
Right.
time. But but I mean, even when I was playing it, and I was married at the time when I was playing, there's no way I would come home, no matter how much pain I was
Right.
in, no matter how bad I was feeling. Am I gonna take my problem to the house? Oh man, I don't feel good. I'm injured. I wasn't brought up that way. I mean, if
Yeah.
you
Me
injured,
neither.
there's a difference between being injured and being hurt.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm not dead, I'm not mentioning anything to you. I mean, I could be sleeping next to you each and every night. I just know I'm not going to take what's going on the football field at practice. I'm not bringing that home. So
Right.
and that's how guys are built, and we shouldn't be built that way. But the game of football just programs us that way.
But
Right. I
you said
agree.
you weren't raised that way. But so that's pre-football.
No, I mean just coming up being a whiner. I mean, as a guy, as a young male. I mean, I grew up I was athletic, and athletic guys want to hang around other athletic guys. And if you're hanging around athletic guys, guess what? There's situations and there's codes that you gotta live by and honor if you want to be with those group
Yeah.
of guys. And
Yeah.
they don't make any apologies. They just tell you this is the way it is, and that's how you see it, and that's how we move about. So,
Right.
you know,
Most
me bringing issues from the field home or from a game home. No, I'm not doing it. I wasn't
Yeah,
doing that.
most athletes, no matter what sport it is, and I'm gonna also I want to answer your question, Bailey, but most athletes, no matter what sport it is, if you are gonna be a good athlete within that sport, you have to have the characteristics of an alpha male.
Yeah,
You cannot not have
exactly,
alpha male characteristics and make it on a professional level in
exactly,
any sport. I don't care if it's
exactly.
tennis, baseball, basketball. I don't care what professional sport it is. If it's a professional sport and you are a male, in order to be at the professional level, your mentality is alpha male.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
usually when the alpha male comes home to his wife and kids, he wants to continue to be the alpha male
yeah,
when he
yeah,
walks through the door. So, I understand what my statement was when I said I wish more women would become more involved in their husband or spouses or boyfriends' mental health. But that is something I think that the woman has to initiate. It will be hard to expect the athlete to
yeah,
be this alpha
exactly.
guy and then go to his wife and say, "Hey, I want you to communicate with the team about my health, my mental health,
Right.
therapy." Man, that will never happen because
It's not
from
happening.
the day you start playing football, even in little league, they they are they want you to become a man before you become a man.
Yep,
They want you to become mature before that time element of maturity comes, because in their mind that's the successful player.
yep,
So it's very hard to do that all your life from the time you're a little shorty. And, a lot of these players play from time they're little shorties all the way till, as Lewis said, in his 30s. And then, all of a sudden the game is over, right? Your sport is over. And that alpha characteristic gets shut down. Nah, that it doesn't get shut down. That shit just keeps going. You know what I
yep,
mean? It just keeps going, and you still don't allow your partner to jump in and help. But to answer your question, Bailey, about would I let my kid play? My answer to that, because that's a tough question, being that I played and took care of my family through football and all that. The one thing I would say is, out of all the professional sports that are out there and available, I would hope my son would play all of those before football, if that makes sense, right?
exactly.
Oh,
So,
100%.
so
And
right,
not cracking your head against something going 50 miles per hour would be great.
right, and I'm also adding, I'm also adding boxing and UFC. I'm also adding that is at the bottom, but it's still ahead of football. And I tell you why. A punch that's coming from the force of a punch cannot battle with the force of a guy weighing 220 pounds or 210, running full speed at you and laying his helmet into your helmet. A punch can't get to that. A punch can't get that. You know what I mean? The force of that can't. The punch is not there, not close. So I would still let my son play, but I would hope that if he had an opportunity to pick a sport, it would be all the other sports and not football.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
how I
I
would
agree.
answer that. I wouldn't tell him no, but I would hope he would choose, other sports. Because Misty deals with athletes in all different sports. So, I don't know how many. I don't know. This is a great question for Misty. How many athletes do you see in football compared to other sports? And their mental health struggles.
No comparison. I guarantee her answer would be no comparison.
Misty, what are your thoughts?
It's more contact sports for sure. I would say, and with certain things that I've noticed, I do think there's so many things that we have touched on today that, Lewis, I'd love to get more of your thoughts on. And there's a few things that are coming up from this. So yes, alpha male, we understand all these things. We understand you were raised, that you were not brought up that way, right? And I just was having a conversation yesterday with a collegiate football coach, actually, and I'm like, I think we need to do a better job of being proactive with mental health, understanding that the locker room is not a therapist office, but I do think that there is a place to be able to plant the seeds earlier on, I should say, in athletes' careers where we are normalizing having these discussions. And I don't like to throw around this word weak, or that makes you weak to have these conversations, or you can't be alpha and you can't be mentally tough if you're having these conversations. It's simply normalizing a space where, like, we do our 1 through 10 check, right? Like, just making that a normal conversation. And I think when that happens, it plants the seed for life after sports, whether that's high school, college, little league, pro, whatever, to continue to have these conversations and have these places to have these discussions, right? We just lost another football player, I think it was 2 days ago, a former player, DeAndre Johnson, just took his life.
Yeah.
So just because these are not major headlines doesn't mean it's not happening all the time. And we're seeing this at Kennedy Kids, right? And I love the idea that you were talking about, Lewis, of the groups. I will tell you, I've tried to put together peer groups before. And here's my question for you. My problem is that I can't get guys to show up. So I've created these weekly peer groups. I've tried in person. I've tried virtual. I've tried this. I've tried that. So how do we open that locker room up in a way where we're being proactive, we're giving guys this space, and women, the athletes, spaces after sports where they can still have that camaraderie, still have that locker room feel, but that they're showing up to hang out with one another?
I tell you what, Misty, I'm gonna tell you what'll get them there, and it may seem somewhat I don't know. I'm just gonna tell you, if you have these type of meetings and you got free food and drinks, they're coming.
Free food and drinks. That's all it takes. I just gotta feed them and give them drinks. All right.
They're coming.
You can't.
I'm writing this down.
You can't call it a peer group. You got to make it like a locker room. Like if you,
well, I have called it. No, it was not called a peer group. I'm just saying so you understand the concept. But yes, food and drinks. I am writing this down. I'm taking these notes because I agree with you. I think we do need to be more proactive in having these spaces where the conversations can continue. I know the NFL has that day 96 check. I don't know how many players actually do that on that specific day. But I do think weekly groups, and if we could get them to show up. So maybe we need sponsors for food and drinks to get them to these groups.
Well, listen, Lou is the king. Like, he has the database. He's the king of pulling an event together, a hot night, a hot event. Like, Lou, this really could be like a thing for you, like to pull for the with the NFLPA, even like pulling together like a locker room every Sunday from 12 to 4. I know it's probably Sundays won't work, but like, if it's broadcast over a game, like Misty, if there's entertainment, that's another thing. Like if they're all watching a game,
yes, they all. No, I mean, I've been to the PA events. Sometimes they're well attended, sometimes they're not.
No,
right.
I mean that's a great idea. Even Bailey, even if you did it on Sundays, I think you'll get a ton of guys, because now it's like it becomes like a locker room. It becomes like game day. Even though we're not going to put on a uniform and play, just meeting there, seeing other guys, to even watch an NFL professional game. I think that's a great idea. I think that's I mean, the league should sponsor things like
Yeah,
this,
I think it's
in,
more.
in
I
all the
think it's
cities.
yeah. I think it's more of a league thing. I think
Yeah,
NFL teams. It should start with NFL teams because guys are in the locker room
yeah,
and they got to come to work. I think the NFL should force the entire team to go through evaluations. And every year. If you're in the league 10 years, you would have been evaluated 10 times at
10 times.
minimum,
Yeah,
right? Minimum.
Yeah.
And then that person that's evaluating you, right? It's the same person. They should use the same person. And that person that has evaluated you 10 times has a history of
exactly.
seeing you. And then they could say, wait a second, year one is far different than year 10 for Robert, right? I've
Hmm.
seen this decline in this area. And because me also, I'm seeing the same person. I have a comfortability with this person.
Yeah,
I then go into retirement and I'm still in contact with this person. And I'm like, man, I'm having a hard time, whatever the case is, because you've been in my life for over a decade and we've actually had evaluations. You know me, I know you, I can come to you. But when you're at the end of your career and you don't have that relationship, you've never been evaluated by the NFL. I think as it's hard to then say, all right, I need this kind of help. Some guys do it, but far more don't. Far more are just trying to get to the next career because they got a family usually at that point, and they got to support their family, and they're like, I don't have time for this mental health
yeah,
stuff. I'm trying to go to work. I'm trying to make some money. I gotta get off my ass. I'm not doing anything, right? There's a level of responsibility there. So I think that it has to start when you got them in the locker room, when you
yeah,
got them on the team,
yeah,
right? That way, the guy has a relationship and because that's when guys will connect with their therapist or whoever the therapist for that team, and that person. Like, I played with the Ravens over maybe 30 years ago, and they still reach out to me to invite me to events. They send packages. There's a whole like alumni department. And if I call them and ask them for a therapist, they would 100% set me up. They ask me, how am I doing? They're the only team, by the way. And I play for 16. They're the only team that has that kind of relationship with us. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
and
don't the Dolphins give you guys a
uh,
suite for the alumni players at every Dolphin game? Don't you guys have an alumni suite where all the guys, all the boys get together? Because I know I've seen Lewis in the suite at least
oh
once.
yeah,
that
oh yeah,
listen, that sweet. I can call the Ravens at for any game, and they'll send me tickets to come for any game. For any game, the Dolphins is only a certain amount of game.
yeah.
I'm not here to bash the Dolphins. Again, I'm just telling you the difference between teams.
No, I
Some
was
Right.
just
teams,
asking if
some
we have
teams,
No,
because
it's up
Lewis
to the
we, we,
team. It's up to the team. Some teams
yeah, yeah.
you just call you can call and say, hey, I'm coming to the game. They put you on the list. You come, you go in the suite. You're on the list, right?
Lewis, I know you're super active with the Dolphins because you do all the green jacket stuff all the time. So what's your experience with their follow-up from them?
No, I think I think the Dolphins. Like I didn't play for the Ravens, but I think the Dolphins has one of if not the best alumni program out there. Like I said, I mean they take care of us. Like Robert said, we get 3 home games to choose tickets that we want, the 2 tickets each. So we go to those games. But they got so many other things that they provide for us at the same time. A lot of guys, when their careers are over, they're embarrassed to come around again, as if like being a retired NFL player is something to frown upon. It's like, you have to coax a lot of these guys out, because a lot of them, when the career's over, I don't know if well, obviously they go in,
Yeah.
but I didn't build my whole life around the game of football either. Football wasn't just the only thing happening in my life when I played. So, there were other things outside of football that I enjoy, and I still enjoy it to this day. But our program with the Dolphins, I think, is one of the best, if not the best, in the league.
Right. There's some depression triggers for football retired players. One is, first just retiring or being forced to retire, right? And when you think, as Lewis mentioned, Lewis said he thought he could have played 4 more years. Just think about that.
I knew I could have.
Just think about that. You're a great player. You played in college. You had great games in the NFL, and then you're forced to retire, and you're saying to yourself, "Man, no team wants me, and I could play 4 more years." Lewis was just had a stable mind and spirit that he was able to get through that thought. Some guys have that thought and can't get through it, and they're pissed that they were forced out, right? And sometimes the way that guys are forced out, to me, I don't like the way the NFL does it. And they show it on Hard Knocks. The guy comes, "Hey, coach want to see you." And then, listen, you know how much work that player has done to get to that point? And then in 10 minutes, you go, "Hey, man, bring your playbook, and we're going to let you go, brother. Good luck. We're going to have a plane ticket for you." And that's it. And then they show it on, they show it on Hard Knocks, and
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. They shouldn't show that. They should blur. I don't know what they should do, but it's embarrassing to these guys. And some of them are vets. Some of them are trying to have a family, right? They're trying to build on a family. They're rookies. And then to go through that. So that's one trigger for mental health. The other, for problems with mental health. The other one is the finances part of it. Some of the guys, they go from making money or trying to have a career to zero, to I got no money coming in, and they have been habitual in spending money, and so the money that came in is already gone. So
they spent all the money on loose parties.
Exactly. The money is gone. Then number 3 is who has a wife and kids. Who has wife and kids? Because now the family's looking at them, right? They're looking at them like, "Dad, what's happening?" Maybe they got to move out of their condo. Maybe they got to move out of the house. Maybe they got to, go down in terms of expenses. There's so many different things that trigger the depression among these guys. That's why I say it's important that the NFL starts right away. When you come into the league, you're forced to be evaluated.
Yeah, I think we do need to implement it sooner. And Lewis, actually, I have a question for you, because that was an excellent list, Robert. From what I heard you say, in the beginning, it sounds like you never really tied your identity to being a football player, right? You said something along the lines like, I was a person who just happened to play football. Now,
Lewis was a football player. Trust me, this dude was a
football
player.
No.
Right, he was a football player.
I'm not debating.
And let me tell you something different about Lewis. Lewis is a winner on and off the field. So when Lewis retired, he was doing parties, making more money than he was doing in football.
But this is my point. This is my question. Okay. Because studies have shown, I don't know if you guys know this or you've seen this data, but there is data. There are numerous studies out there that show, to the degree that you associate yourself as being an athlete, right? The higher the degree, the closer the more you identify yourself as an athlete. That's it. That's all I am. The more you're suffering and the harder your time is when you're transitioning out of the sport, because it's for some people, it's their whole identity. So Lewis, it sounds like you were like, I guess I'm a football player. Yes, Robert, to your point, he, did everything right. He was a hard-nosed player, excelled to amazing levels that it's top percent, right? Make that happen. But at the same time, what I heard, I could be wrong, is that when it was done, you weren't fighting because you were like, okay, I did what I was doing. I'm a person. Here are my next steps, right? So assuming I heard that correctly, what would be your advice to men and women who are playing any kind of sport, who are really wrapped up in their identity as an athlete, to be able to exit as mentally healthy as you did?
Ooh, wow. I mean, just from ever since I was in college, I remember being in a calculus 2 class at the University of Florida, and this girl comes up to me, and we had a calc exam, and after class, 2 days had gone by. We come back to class, and outside of class, on the wall were all the scores of every student, but they didn't have names. They only had the social security number, and then they had your grade your grade by your social number. So I look at it and I was like, oh shit. I said, damn, I knew I was gonna get an A on this test. And this girl who was in my class, she was like, aren't you that football player? How did you get an A on the test? And I got so offended. I was so upset with her that I called her the B word. And I was like, and then my exact word was, I say, bitch, because I'm smart. I'm not just a football player. I'm smart.
Right.
So from that point on, I never wanted to be just called a football player, because there were limitations of what you could do, who you could become. And if you don't become an NFL player, then it's almost like you're resignated to designated to become nothing. And I didn't want people looking at me like that. So when people would come out, hey, aren't you a Miami Dolphin football player? I say, no, I just happen to be somebody who plays for the Miami Dolphin. That's all. So for me, I just never wanted that connection to
Right.
always be there when it came to people. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. I knew I couldn't play football my entire life. I mean, I played 8 years. The average is 3 or 4 years right now. So to be called a football player when you're 40, you're not playing no more. You're not
Right.
playing anymore. I mean, so for me, it's just I never wanted to make that connection. I never wanted people to see me that way. I knew God had given me talents outside of football, so I just tried to expound and build on those talents. And I could have done more, could have done less, but I'm a happy person. I'm a happy person right now.
I think that's amazing. I love it because, again, like, you didn't want to just be like, you knew you were more than a football player. And there's another level to this that I love. And then Bailey, I think you wanted to jump in, but I just wanted to say really quickly that I admire this because you made it to the top of the top without entirely and putting 110% of your identity into being a football player, because there's people out there that say, I can't be successful if I'm not, like, that's not all I am, right? So they don't think they can reach that level. So I think this is interesting because you reached that level, you played at the highest level, you were talented at the highest level, you did everything at that level, but you still had that sense of, I'm more than a football player.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's really cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I also think it's very cool, just to segue off Missy's very cool moment, that you actually had an academic scholarship and then became a football player for the school. So how did you manage that? Because an academic scholarship requires you to maintain a really high level GPA. But like for these student athletes out here, they're like, if they're on a scholarship for their actual sport, that's like a job for them. Like they work after school, before school, on weekends, they have game days. You had to maintain your academic scholarship all the way through college as well. Like, what did that look like?
I mean, well, that precedent was set early in my life with my mom and my dad, because they wouldn't allow, we had to get good grades. Me, my brother, my two sisters, they didn't. My parents didn't want us to come home with anything less than an A or B in your class. It mostly A's. If you didn't, your grades weren't up to par, then you couldn't participate in a lot of things, football, sports, all of that. But I just always wanted to be smart. I mean, I never wanted to be looked at as a dummy. So for me, it was just like, okay, I gotta get the best grade in every subject, and if I don't, then it's a problem. I've always been driven. So for me, when I went to college, I walked on at the University of Florida. I didn't go there with a football scholarship. I was one of the undesirables that turned into a very high desirable. But for me, academics was always a priority for me. I always made that a priority for me. And I just told myself when I got to Florida, hey, I'll be out of here in 4.5 years with my degree. I got my degree in criminology, and and football didn't work out. I was going to go into the FBI, but fortunately for me, things panned out. And but no, I enjoy having some type of intellect.
Lou, that's pretty. I didn't know. This is all brand new to me. At what point, walk-ons, how they come on the team, you got to be in the walk-on room. You're not allowed to, all those things. At what point at Florida did you transition from walk-on to where they looked at you as a serious athlete?
Bailey,
was it immediately? Was it
this,
5
this,
days? Was it
this
a
was
week?
the story, Bailey. 3 days after I graduated high school, after I'm up at the University of Florida. Now, mind you, we got 4 or 5 guys from my high school, all Americans, all state players that are already on the University of Florida football team. So when I get up there, the guys were having informal 7-on-7 practices, the receivers, quarterbacks, defensive backs, running backs, my homeboy Rondy Weston, who had come out that year with me, he was Gatorade Player of the Year in football and basketball, All-American. So he said, hey homeboy, you're gonna try out for the football team. These guys are doing passing drills out there today. So go in the locker room, tell them you're gonna walk on the football team, and they're gonna give you some equipment. So I go in there, tell them I'm gonna play. They fit me up, give me some shoes, shorts, jerseys, that type of stuff. We go out on the field and we got to cover the receiver. So I'm out there with all the new freshmen, all state guys, all American guys, and I'm saying, hold on now. This guy here is an all American. This guy here is all state. How the fuck did he get this? If he's all American, then I'm all universe. So after the informal practice was over, the defensive back coach calls me from the field. Hey, you come up here, come here. What's your name? I said, I'm Louis Oliver. Where you from? I played at Belgrade. Oh, we brought Rondy Weston and Ray McDonald and Tommy Duhart and Greg Bain. I said, yeah, coach, I'm at the same high school. He said, are you on scholarship? I said, no. He said, well, how the hell did that happen? I said, well, that's what the hell I want to know. I said, because these guys that you got on scholarship, they're not going to need their scholarships because they won't even see the field. So at that point, Bailey, I just told myself, I don't care who's in front of me, you're going to be behind me. And it was no less than 5-6 months later that all of those guys that came in as All-American and All-State, their career ended on the bench.
Wow. And how fast did they then start taking you serious? Like, was it training camp? Did you your first training camp, or was it during the season? When was it?
My first practice, I wasn't the first team safety. I wasn't the second team, third team, fourth team, or the fifth team safety. So I'm the 16th safety.
Right.
And
you're just trying to get out there for one play.
I get 2 plays in practice, and in those 2 plays, I get 2 interceptions. They bring me back for the second practice that day at number 1 safety. From that point on, I just told myself, and I told my teammates, I say, look, you guys won't need your scholarships. You guys won't play here as long as I'm here.
Wow.
And I just started working from that point on, and they redshirted me. And once they redshirted me, I never went to a football game. I never went to a home or away game. I played the first 2 games in '84. They redshirted me, and from that point on, all I did was just work and work out and work out and work out.
Yeah. So they knew the next year you were going to be the guy.
Fuck, I knew it. They had to know.
So when did they offer you a scholarship, a football scholarship?
In the spring of '85. I went there in the
That's
summer
your sophomore year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so, in the spring of '85, I told the coach at that time, I said, look, I'm second team, free safety, strong safety. All these guys you guys brought in here, they play behind me. Matter of fact, they don't even play. So I'm gonna need a scholarship, or I'm gonna transfer to Florida State University. I told him, I said, Coach, you got 3 days to find a scholarship, and we were on probation that year, so they could only give out 10. And I said, well, look, you're gonna take somebody's scholarship, but you got 3 days. And I left out of his office. I go to my dorm. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. He says, hey, Lewis, we got you a scholarship. I said, I knew you was going to find one. And that's what started it.
A great story.
That you like went in there and told people what they were going to do. It
Lewis,
sounds like somebody else I know.
What were you, like 19? Like, this is amazing.
Lewis, you handcuffed him. Hey, you better find something quick.
No, I wasn't playing, Bailey. I meant that because, I'm looking at if these guys got a scholarship, how did I not get one? Why am I paying for my school? Why am I having a job as a freshman? I got to work in the office of the registrars, and these guys are eating steak and shrimp and lobster every night. And now I'm in my dorm room eating Chef Boyardee.
Right.
That's not gonna happen.
No. And that's a great story, Lou, to go from walk on to where you're literally a part of the Hall of Fame at the school. You're one of the greatest safeties to ever play there. And that's a story for the movies, man. I just want to tell you, man, I'm honored. I'm honored to know you and to have played with you and to have worked out with you. And you're great, man. And you helped my career because I actually, just following your work ethic, it taught me how to work. And so I just wanted to say thank you at this moment. I get the opportunity to tell you thank you.
Hey, so please, man. Look, man, you know I love you to death, dog. Man, you are a great teammate. I mean, you're a great friend right now. And I want as much success for you as the Lord will allow.
Right. Thank
you. Man, to have a teammate, more teams need players like you. I mean, you came in there. You put your feet to the metal, man. You start working, and then you were a smart player, so you didn't have to tell you but one time. I mean, some guys you got to tell over and over. You got it the first time because you know what it meant. You know what it meant. You know what it means. So, having a teammate like you and some of the teammates that I had, man. I would love to relive those moments all over again, but we can't. But so I'm gonna take this time that while you're here, while I'm here, and say, look here, Bailey, man, I appreciate you. I love you, dog, and I want the best
love you too,
always.
I appreciate you too.
Misty, I love you so much. You're such an amazing woman. I think you light my day up.
And
I love
Robert,
all of you.
Yeah, I just want Robert, to see some love too.
And Robert, that's what a lot of our teammates need to hear. Hey, man, I love you, dog.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you how much I love you. I love you.
Perfect
I love you so much that I want the best for you. Get your checkups. Stay with your physical checkups.
Yeah.
Go get your mental checkups. And man, if you ain't feeling good, here's my number. Give me a shout. We can talk. We can meet up somewhere. Have some drinks. Have some coffee. Whatever. But I'm just checking. Here's my number. I'm available to you if you got time.
That, brother.
I love it. Let's issue a challenge for everybody listening, whether you play the sport or not. Reach out to 5 people today. Send them a text message. Tell them thinking about you, love you, want to check in. How are things going? Let's link up. Whatever. I love that. I think we need to do more of that. Be more proactive. It's really easy to kind of get stuck in the fog of your own life, but to really check in on one another. It really makes a difference, right? So, and Lewis, I really think that you could hold like TED Talks or master classes or retreats or something about how to be confident, self-talk, business, because man, you have all of that just lined up so beautifully. I've heard all these things throughout this whole conversation today. So it's really been a pleasure. As we get starting closer to wrapping up here, one thing that we like to ask everybody is, what are 3 things that you do to help yourself with your mental health, right? Like, so I know you mentioned working out earlier. Like, what are a couple other things that you do to help yourself keep yourself mentally strong and healthy?
I mean, I try to stay around smart people. Like this guy that I'm about to show you right now, this guy right here, he's one of the smartest people I know. So I try to stay around people that are smarter than me so I can always continue to learn.
Right.
I don't, I got friends who may not be as sharp as this guy, but you know, I just try to stay around sharp people, progressive people, positive people. And if you can keep positivity in your life, that can stave off a lot of the mental deficiencies you may have, because positive people are always uplifting people.
Yeah.
And people who have mental issues, you don't need to be around negativity. You don't need to be around negative people. You don't need to be around pessimistic people. You need to be around people who have an optimistic outlook on life that's very optimistic, positive, and I like happy people. That's why I like Bailey. I like talking to Robert. He's fun. He's very fun, but at the same time, he's funny. He's smart as hell, and he's a good person. He's gonna do what he says he's gonna do when he says it, and you can count on that. You
Yep.
can count on that, and that's what I mean. That's what a friend is. You can count on him. So, and I tell my guys, hey man, if you set up a meeting with me, and I'm gonna be there. You ain't got to worry about me missing it. I'm worrying about you missing, because I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do exactly what I say I'm gonna do, and how I do it, and when I'm gonna do it.
Accountability.
Exactly, Rob. That's what the world is missing. Nobody wants to be held accountable for anything.
Right.
Well, I love this. I wish we could continue this conversation. Maybe we can get you back on one of these days, Lewis, because I have a feeling we have way more stories we haven't heard and much, much more to learn from you. I certainly have taken a lot away today. So thank you for your time. We want to remind everybody, if you are struggling with mental health, dial 988. That is the free crisis prevention suicide line. Of course, if you are in an emergency, dial 911. And of course, also, we like to remind you, this show is a program of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. So please check us out, help us with our mission of preventing teen suicide. And really, we're supporting families along the way. You can check that out at kennedykids.org. We have a bunch of resources there, but also other ways for you to get involved. And the easiest thing that you guys can do is subscribe, like, comment, share, all those things that just take a few seconds, but help us reach these messages to a much wider audience. So, Lewis, thank you again for your time. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lewis.
If anybody wants to follow you or find you, Lewis, where should they go? Instagram?
You can catch me on IG at Lewis Oliver 1825. On Facebook, Lewis Oliver 25.
Awesome. Thank you so much for saying yes.
Thanks, Lou.
Great show.
God bless you, Lou. God bless you, bro.
All right.
All right, bye.